A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
When Alex became a god, he thought he would have no problems at all. Until... he landed in the Divine Dimension and was tasked with protecting the entire multiverse.
Am I connected to every single Alex Ambrose that ever existed?
Alex could travel across dimensions, defying the laws of time and space, to help other Alexes throughout the multiverse. But then everything changed.
No! Aw!
I have to go back and save them.
But if Alex went back to the mortal world, he would relinquish all of his power and his memories.
I don't have a choice. I must go back.
When Alex returned back to Earth, he goes back to being your average business tycoon millionaire, unaware that the people he cared most about are in danger.
Someone help me!
Yvonne, what happened?
I was attacked by a monster. Alex? What's going on? Get away from him! He is my boyfriend!
Who attacked Yvonne in the forest? What will Debbie do next? Who will Alex choose between the two women? Will Alex ever remember who he was before traveling into a different multiverse? To hear what happens next and whether Alex can stop the deranged monster before he strikes again, listen to the original audio drama, Insta Millionaire Returns, only on Pocket FM. Download the app now and find out.
Presentation.
Welcome in to Turn 200's coverage of the regular season finale of Truck 200. It is time to go racing in Las Vegas, out in the desert, where, according to some, birds aren't real. That's the name of the game here tonight, the Birds Aren't Real 200. Round number 11 of the final season of Truck Racing, or rather, Truck 200 here on Turn 200. Welcome in, folks. My name is Tommy Cook. I'm manning the whole operation here tonight. And I thought I was going to have to do it alone, but I had some last-minute volunteers to hop into the booth with me, and it is an all-star lineup if there ever was one. We welcome in 2 drivers for their very first Booth 200 appearance for a race. First, we'll welcome in your reigning Venom Truck Series champion, Mr. John Kay, in Booth 200. Welcome in, partner. Ready for some racing tonight in Las Vegas?
Oh, absolutely. I figured after my last trip here that, I'd be better served doing something other than being on the track. So we're up in the booth, going to try and help you out a little bit, and excited to work with you in an official capacity. And
the driver under center for the first time here tonight will be my broadcast partner coming up on Thursday nights for the Maximum Velocity CNC Home Designs Truck Series. We'll welcome in Mr. Joshua Matichek to Booth 200 for the first time in a broadcast capacity. Your Las Vegas race the other night with the Venom Truck Series went a little bit longer than John's did, but how are you feeling up here in the booth tonight?
Feeling a lot better in the booth than I did on track a couple weeks ago. Sitting in the same boat as John, just not a great night overall. Well,
it should be better tonight, I would hope. Because the pressure's off. You don't have to drive. You got, I think we've got 20 drivers that are going to give it a shot tonight instead of you two. So it'll be fun to watch. But we are in the regular season here tonight, the regular season finale that is at Las Vegas. So we've got some points to look at here. Your drivers in green on this graphic are the ones that are already locked into the postseason, and those are 3 names that nobody should be surprised to see at the top of the points charts. Some interesting developments further down we go, but you'll notice once you get down to 13th here, those drivers in white stop and the drivers in red start. 14th on down cannot get themselves into the postseason. So 4th to 13th going for the top 8 spots. We'll start with Mr. Matichek since he won the coin toss. Given who is here and who is not here, some of the drivers in white, any of the names surprise you that are on the outside looking in? Who are you looking forward to seeing try and work it tonight?
I know that Matt Slosser has been working his tail off to try and get in, and he's sitting there as the third one looking out. But also seeing Vroman, last car on the cut line, I know he's a great driver racing against him in Venom, and I feel like he can put in the program tonight and get it done and maybe make it into this chase.
He is going to have an uphill battle here tonight with only 20 drivers, but you're right. If anybody could do it, it is Steve Vroman. We'll throw it to you, Mr. John Kay. Who are you looking at from the drivers in white here to try and cinch up a postseason opportunity?
I think a guy I like is James Lehman. I know he's a little bit, 90 points back of the cut line, but he's fast. I feel like every time I tune in and watch a Truck 200 race or even race against him, I know I'm pretty sure it was him anyways, if I remember correctly, that was kicking tail at Myrtle Beach. I think he's going to be one to keep your eye on.
Well, James Lehman definitely was kicking some tail, as you said last week, at Myrtle Beach. But he got his tail kicked late, in particular by TJ Crampton, who actually will pull this points graphic back up. TJ Crampton's only raced 7 races this season out of the 10, so he's missed 3 races, and he's still in the points hunt here with 2 late-season victories. But another driver that got past James Lehman there late was Mr. Joshua Matichek to take second place in last week's proceedings. James Lehman only being 90 points out. With an inflated point system like this, he's got a shot to get in tonight just by being here, which he is, and he was fastest in practice, I do believe. But especially at a track like Myrtle Beach where you had to get your elbows out, Joshua, that was not an easy pass to make late in the running.
No, it definitely wasn't. Lehman was so good on the short runs last week, especially being a short track guy and a racer in real life, knowing the track and knowing how tire degradation works on it and everything. It adds a whole different perspective to sim racing than just your average Joe might see. But he's definitely one to watch coming into this final regular season race.
So some developments here with only 2 minutes left to go in qualifying. Plus 130 to the cut line, Caleb Binsey. It's kind of safe. It's not mathematically safe, though, even with 21 drivers here. So Bensie's not in the lineup tonight. As of now, he still has a couple minutes to show up, and he'll be fast if he does. But we'll have to see what Bensie's plans are for the postseason, the reigning series champion. We'll see if he even makes it into the postseason with not being here tonight. Gavin Sanders is not here tonight. He'll be taking his provisional, but that doesn't matter because he is 600 points above the cut line, so he is perfectly fine. Will Weiser with some confirmation as well, seemingly anyway, that he will not be a part of the postseason either. So that will free up one spot for the drivers that were on the outside looking in, and that'll be great news if you're somebody like Charlie Widener, who is looking to start deep in the pack here tonight, or James Lehman, who need a big jump here. Heath Smith likewise as well. He's in the lineup tonight, and Steve Roman is in this lineup tonight as well. So no Bensie, no Weiser. Everybody else that is in white on the points graphic is going to give it a shot here tonight. John, we were here just a couple weeks ago with the Venom Truck Series. This track was hot in the daytime. It's going to be under the lights here. The track is very cool, already around 85 degrees. What's the vibe switch up between those two conditions?
I think, really, I think it's going to tighten the truck up with it being cooler, at least in my experience. I feel like every time we run a cooler track, especially a track like Vegas, where it's going to be, obviously I didn't get to practice any with the setup that we have currently, but it usually Vegas tends to lean towards a very pack mentality kind of race. So everybody's going to be all bunched up, burning their tires off, and I have a feeling with it being cooler, it might be a little tighter. We might see a lot of beating and banging in the corners with people sliding up when they're trying to stick to the bottom. So it's gonna be an interesting dynamic. It was still pretty. I'd say. Again, I only got 20 laps of running when we ran it in Venom, but in practice it was pretty tight. But the one thing that was nice when it was hotter was you were able to make passes without any help. So I'll be interested to see how that goes as this race goes on. If it starts to get strung out, any of people are going to be stuck single file, or if they're going to be able to make passes without the assistance of another truck behind them pushing them along.
Well, qualifying is over. It is time to hit the grid, the final race of the regular season. It's the Birds Aren't Real 200, 133 laps here tonight at Las Vegas, and with the pole position, no surprise whatsoever. It is Justin Michael that will lead the field to the green. He's already into the chase, but looking for what would be a series-high third victory of the season heading into the postseason. Rob Haynes, though, he is not in contention for the postseason, but he will start on the outside of the front row. James Lehman, Scott Patton. It's an all-Max V front four with the Cornfield Kid. How about it? The Demigod Dakota Domain starting in P5. Steve Roman basically in a must-win here tonight. He will roll off from 6. Hunter Engraves already into the postseason. He starts in 7th. Heath Smith in 8th. TJ Crampton, an improbable drive through the season to get to where he is now, but he is in the positive heading into tonight, starting in 9th. Kyle Zittel will round out your top 10 starters. It is row 6, Matt Schlosser, Luke Peterson. Row number 7, Brandon Groover and Andy Poliski. Cole Maxwell and Josh Heggie on row number 8. Charlie Widener, Travis Fleming on the 9th row. And the rest of the starting lineup there on the screen. Charlie Widener, Travis Fleming, Logan Spath, Peter Donchek, and Hunter Lynch back in the lineup for the first time tonight since Zandvoort starting in 21st. We'll give you a look at the weather conditions here. I don't think the lights are quite on yet, but they're about there. 86 degrees track temperature, 84 degrees ambient. That is right around where it was in practice. Looking high above the turn 200 blimp here. We spend good money on that for a reason. Joshua Monachek, any predictions for what we're going to see here tonight? Maybe piggybacking off of what John said there with the track conditions.
Yeah, I think track conditions play a huge part here. When Venom was here, track was real hot, trucks were real free. I know I had an issue with it off the start. For these two starting out front, they might get away and maybe have some runs at each other out front, but I think this pack is going to stay pretty cramped together for this start, being that we're a little bit cooler on the track temp, and that should keep tire wear down a little bit. It should make it an interesting first race.
Final race of the regular season for Truck 200. The Birds Aren't Real 200 is underway at Las Vegas. Whole shot goes to Justin Michael. Lehman trying to push him out ahead. As, I just blinked there for a second. I really pulled a Matt Williamson, but we're back. And look at this. Nearly 3 wide for the race lead. Lehman trying to go for the lead underneath at the line. Lap 1 goes to Justin Michael. Max V still at the top 4 spots. Dakota DeMade hanging right here as Rob Haynes going to move from the top down to the bottom. And it is truck pack racing here at Las Vegas early. No surprise, like you both have mentioned. Locked down here. Even with the new additions to this truck, they still stay pretty packed up here for a number of laps.
I think the thing that makes the pack racing element so, I mean, it's just interesting at a place like Las Vegas is usually, it used to be the bottom was such a preferred lane. You would want to be on the bottom. You couldn't pass anybody on the outside. But now it seems to have switched with the way the trucks run. You said that they were updated. It feels like the middle is a much more viable option to get around people.
Your pole sitter, Justin Michael, on the usual strategy of dropping backwards and saving early. Not a bad move here. Anybody agree? I mean, that's usually Justin Michael's MO anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a good move here. It is a long race. The further you get in, the more stretched out the field gets, so you can kind of make up better lap time towards the end once you're out of traffic and can get some clean air. But I know firsthand that, making an early pit cycle or a late pit cycle can catch you out if there is a caution in the middle of the pit cycles, and it's really unfortunate, but it's just something you got to work with, and you just got to make things happen.
On the flip side of that coin, the driver that knows what he's up against here tonight, Steve Roman, making moves early, pushing hard. He is up on provisional podium right now, looking for a pass underneath of Rob Haynes, who was just running in second. Patton got through in the 33 and opens the door for Roman, as it looked like TJ Crampton just got a piece of the wall there coming out of the tri-oval into turn number 1, and he'll lose the 5th spot back to Dakota DeMade. As Roman will slide up and take 3rd, and now it's Patton maybe looking for the lead here on a pretty fired up James Lehman, I would imagine, after the proceedings went the way they did last week. Hello to Matt Williamson. Hello to Mr. Maxwell. Hello to Peter Donchek as well. Cole and Peter both in the field here. Of course, Matt Williamson not in the field, as we've got teammates side by side for the lead. Make you more nervous being side by side for the lead with a teammate?
100%, without a doubt.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. I like being side by side with my teammates, especially if it's somebody you're around a lot that you know is gonna keep you out of trouble, keep both of you out of trouble.
I think it depends on who your teammates are.
That's true.
Well, I've been lucky to have some pretty good ones. I did door one of my teammates once, actually here, on the last lap. So, or might have been 2 to go, but it happens.
John, all your teammates are teammates with John Kay.
That is true. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but yeah,
it's for them
Steve Roman, Steve's making good progress here. Usually, I feel like a lot of the time Steve doesn't quite put down a qualifying lap. That's as good as he thinks it should be. He has a lot of speed, so good for him qualifying up front and making moves here early. That's a guy that, especially if this race gets turned upside down on its head, if you haven't watched before, Steve is a strategy guy, but it's good to see him showing some good speed here early.
Steve
to go along with that.
Steve is definitely a strategy guy, but we've seen him win on raw pace before. The winner at Texas and at Kansas in the Venom Truck Series, both broadcasted here on the channel. That's the evidence for it. I mean, those were both great long runs for the 00 to get himself at the front of the heap. And now he's up here in second, maybe going to give James Lehman a run for his money. And Lehman was the fastest driver in practice as well. So Roman's got great pace, and he's already up 4 spots from where he took the green flag.
Yeah, another guy who's good on raw pace is Matt Schlosser. Usually sits a little further back in the field at the starts, but he's starting to move forward now. Just moved up past Andy Poliski and Justin Michael up to 9th now, just inside the top 10.
And you see Michael there, the pole sitter. This is the usual strategy for him and for Hunter Engrav as well. And Schlosser can fall in line with those two as well from time to time. But Matt is starting his march up the field. Engrav is down 6 spots. Justin Michael is down 10 from the pole. So early in the going, not a surprise. I mean, it's always surprising to see the drivers that start up front fall very quickly, but it's always by design with those two, usually anyway. Keeping our eyes on some of the drivers that are close to the cut line in either direction coming into tonight. Charlie Widener has been moving up some spots, moving down some spots, holding about even with where he started this one, but he will always and forever be the hero of Las Vegas on Turn 200 with what he pulled off here at the end of the last Max V season. Coming back from 5 laps down to win the race. It'll never be done again. But Charlie is on a roller coaster here to start this one on the outside, looking in at the drop of the green. Schlosser was another one that is very close to the cut line, but he's in the positive direction to start this one. He's up 2 spots from where he started, like Joshua said, running in the 9th spot for now. Take a quick peek. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think something that gets overlooked, you bring up Matt Schlosser being in the positive. Those people that are in the positives for the points, even if they're that are close to the cut line, they still have to have good days. You can't have a bad day here close to the cut line if you want to make the chase.
Side by side, Patton, Squeeze, and Vroman here. So Vroman has started to fade back about nearly half a second. Little kick pot came for our buddy Matt.
As we've gotten stretched out here in the top 10, looks like 11th on back is staying relatively packed up, which, helping with aero here, it may help with some tire saving as we get further into this first stint.
Especially in a truck, I would imagine the 1.5 miles are so inviting just to push as hard as you can. But then you've messed up. I don't know. I usually mess up about this point, but usually in about 5 to 10 laps from now, I'm feeling it. If I went too hard, even at Las Vegas, or I feel like it's one of the more generous tracks on tire wear, but you're still going to pay for it. As we are
100%.
fender to fender, the 46 and the 00. They are giving each other the business out of the tri-oval. Scott Patton still can't quite get clear on Vroman.
Yeah, that middle lane looks really strong. Steve doing a really good job of holding position here. And I like the nice tight side draft down through the tri-oval. Just got to be careful with a little bit of net code possibly kicking in that could really mess up a good day.
Well, you both have a lot of experience running with Steve Vroman. And anybody that's watched many Thursday night races will always see Scott Patton at the front no matter what the track is. Those are 2 of our tidier drivers, that's for sure. So no doubt they could keep it clean and also go really hard for second here. All that battling, though, cost him 0.8 of a second up to the race leader, James Lehman. We didn't talk about the fuel window or even fuel strategy here. I'll punt it to either one of you since you two are the drivers. What are you eyeing down in terms of maybe the fuel window and maybe how the tires will come into play on that?
I'm the wrong person to ask about strategy. If you watched the Venom race last week, you know that. But
well, you're going for the undercut. When's the undercut?
It's tough to say. I think I was trying to watch some people in practice that were doing long runs. It looked like they could go a pretty good distance, about 50 laps. So I think the undercut window could open up. You put yourself in some danger with looking at the lap count too, because I was going to say it could open up at 40, but that doesn't get you to the end of the race if you undercut and then undercut again. So It's going to be, I'd say anywhere from probably 43 to 47 or 48 might be your fuel window. It's going to be interesting to see, especially being packed up.
You talk about Scott Patton being tidy. That was a slide job. And he may have left some dirt on the front windshield to Steve Roman there. Roman now with his hands full to Rob Haynes as Patton is up to second.
Yeah, Rob Haynes has a pretty tough job here. Just sitting back and watching these guys now with TJ right up underneath him. But just sitting back and watching two guys battle, especially if you know that you're faster than them, it's really difficult to just be patient and not push the truck past its limits trying to make something happen.
TJ Crampton of Rancho Cucamonga, California, the best town name in all of iRacing. He has been the king of the long run of late. He's got 2 short track wins. He does have a 1.5 mile win last season at Homestead Miami Speedway. And he's pulling up behind Rob Haynes, who also has a victory here at Max V at Las Vegas a couple seasons ago. And then there's Dakota DeMade. I think the real X factor in all this, hanging around right where he started this race. And speaking of heroes of Las Vegas, Luke Peterson in the lineup tonight, and he's back in 7th with Kyle Zittel tagging along there in P8. They're making their way up to this fairly big group now from second on back.
Yeah, Luke was riding behind Kyle for a little bit, so missed him getting around Kyle, and that's one of the toughest passes you're going to have to make, but it kind of gets lost in Luke's win, but Kyle also had absolutely killer pace in that Vegas race, and Schlosser obviously quick everywhere we go if he keeps the tires underneath of him, as he talked about in the Venom cast.
Yeah, go watch the Venom cast. The silent assassin Matt Schlosser finally had a face reveal, and some good turn 200 lore in there as well. But excited to get to hear John and Kyle Zittel cut it up for an hour with Matt Schlosser, and then we'll see if Schlosser and Zittel continue to stroke each other's egos while they're battling here for 8th.
He looked nothing like I expected him to look. I'm not gonna lie. I expected this. I don't know what I was expecting, but not what he looked like. I was surprised. I don't mean that in a bad way either. I got a big appreciation for Matt for coming on the podcast. And I told him that. I was like, you blew my mind. You got this big old beard, and I was like, yeah, not even close to what I would have imagined.
Roman's taking the fight right back to Scott Patton here, and it may be time to push the issue a little bit because TJ Crampton is breathing down both of their necks.
That being said, all this battling for third through 8th or so, let's let James Lehman get out to almost a 2-second lead here. So curious to see how that will affect tire and fuel strategy as we get to the end with him running in completely clean air versus these guys battling back and forth for the entire first 25 laps of this race.
Crampton takes 3rd. Now he's up to Scott Patton. Vroman right back into the lap of Rob Haynes as Luke Peterson now arrives on the scene. 2nd through 7th, all nose to tail here on lap 27. I'm sure you two feverishly taking notes for Kansas tomorrow night for the Venom Truck Series. How applicable is it from 1.5 miles to 1.5 miles? What can he take from a night like tonight into tomorrow's race?
Oh, boy.
It's the same car.
I don't even know. I think, Kansas is kind of unique because I feel like it gets top dominant late, whereas Vegas you still try to stay middle to bottom. So I don't think like going from Vegas to Kansas is applicable, but like in old Atlanta could be, because you get people that'll run the top there depending on how the truck's set up and how the fixed setup's working. So there's a really good battle going on for second between Crampton and Patton.
Yeah, these two are sliding and crossing. I mean, Patton came here to play. There's no doubt about that. I'm sure he'd rather this be for the lead, but he is definitely putting on a show here in P2. As Vroman and Haynes behind them nearly got crossed up. Luke Peterson making the move here on to Made, and we'll put him right inside of our Canadian friend, Mr. Rob Haynes, who gave him a little tap there down the back stretch.
Just a little up tap.
Aggressive side draft.
And Crampton regains the second spot after he's made the pass a couple of different times. This time it might stick. I'm sure that is the last person James Lehman wants to see in his mirror, TJ Crampton.
Especially after last week.
But he's got 2.3 seconds. The gap over. Let's take a look back in the field right now as Charlie Widener and Travis Fleming are side by side. Good to see Travis Fleming back in the lineup here tonight. Widener, Charger Charlie will go up to P13, but Justin Michael back to 12th. And some gaps to try and overcome here if he starts to push the issue a little bit. I mean, did he go too far back maybe? And I know we say this every time, but he's pretty far back there.
I was wondering the same thing, and I thought about asking it, but if there's a guy that knows more about doing it than me, it's probably Justin Michael and Hunter Engrav. I mean, Hunter kicked my butt a couple of times when he was in Venom, dropping back like that, and I was like, I would hear where he was at, and I'm like, there's just no way he's way too far back. But those guys are so good at what they do, saving their tires and keeping speed in the truck. It makes you think, and then you're like, you know what? They know better than I do. I'm just gonna not even think about it, not gonna question it.
Luke Peterson ahead of Rob Haynes now as Kyle Zittel is looking to the inside of the Demigod. Shout out to Jacob Nagy in the chat. Shout out to Nagy, a rare Nagy appearance. Thanks for hanging out with us. No Matt here tonight. He'll be back tomorrow. He's out celebrating his fiance's birthday. So happy birthday to Madison. Can Zittel get clear here in 1 and 2? Might have some help from Matt Schlosser, the driver that pushed him to the win in the Daytona Charity Shootout earlier this season. Or earlier this year, rather. And Nagy's just here for the conspiracies. That's great. You guys think birds are real?
I mean, people shoot them and eat them, so yeah, I'm gonna go with yeah.
You ever seen anybody eat them though?
Are all birds real?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe some birds are fake, but I think there's definitely real birds. Chickens are real.
Chickens are real.
Yeah.
Turkey is real.
Yeah, turkey. Pheasants are real.
Quail.
We're going
pigeons are real.
We're going full ornithology over here, and we're just going to name every bird that we know.
Dodo birds are not real.
Not anymore.
Dead. No, they're dead. Something I would like to point out. I noticed it. Obviously, I had a lot of time to kind of dissect how he does it, but Luke does such a good job. He's up to third or fourth. I can't tell.
He is up
I'm
to
not
fourth.
good at math. Yeah, he's working on moving up to third. He does such a good job of keeping his truck out of dirty air, and especially here. I think that's what really helps him keep his tires underneath of him. And I mean, you see him; he's made rather quick work getting through the pack and getting to the back bumper of Patton.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe that was a good strategy call. Just maybe qualifying a little bit off pace for the lead, but starting in the back, you'll have Arrow in the draft to come through and help save tires some.
Yeah.
Zittel continuing to try and move his way forward. He got through on DeMay, now going for Vroman. As Peterson and Patton now side by side, and Luke drifted up the track a little bit and nearly into the left rear quarter panel of the 46.
Wondering here as we come across for lap 38 if maybe Vrooman used up a little too much tire there in the beginning coming through, because he's falling back under the clutches of Zittel now for 7th.
Caution free so far. We will have an opportunity for green flag pit stops here soon, I would imagine, if that were to keep up.
Now.
Yeah, if it were to keep up. Watch it for Justin Michael. He is now up to 11th. and starting to charge forward a bit. But he's got a lot of work ahead of him still. The gap is still increasing from James Lehman back to TJ Crampton. It's about 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu.
Nice.
Thank you.
That was top tier. I like that.
It's been a while since I busted that one out.
That song is going to be stuck in my head for the foreseeable future now. So also thanks for that, I suppose. It's a good song.
Kyle Little's had some good runs this season. He's had some runs that he definitely wants back, including last week at Myrtle Beach. But he is a fan of Las Vegas on the sim and in real life. I'm sure he would love to get a good result here tonight, and you could probably speak to that pretty well, John.
Yeah, I mean, like I talked about, that's it kind of got lost, I think, in the excitement of Luke winning his first race in Venom. Zittle always. I don't know what it is about this track that just meshes with his driving style so well, but my goodness, here at Auto Club, he is just like, he is so good. I have a thing or two to learn from him about Auto Club, obviously, but I'm super pumped to see Zittle run good, especially like you know, after a couple of the weeks where he struggled at short tracks.
Peterson trying to keep the good momentum going here. He's going for another lunge to the inside of Scott Patton. 2 podiums in the last 3 weeks for Preach Peterson in the Venom Truck Series. No podiums in Truck 200. He sure would like to change that before we close up shop here in 6 weeks. He's off to a pretty good start tonight.
I know the bottom's where Luke wants to be, but I almost want to see him try and get to Patton's outside and try to get something going in the middle. Kind of like that.
I wonder if he's listening.
I don't know.
Well, if he didn't hear you last lap, he'll definitely hear you this time. Really going to drive it in deep here. And he's clear on Patton. Scott going to try and cross him up. I don't think he's going to quite have the run for it, though. Peterson up to third.
It's almost like I know what I'm thinking.
Patton.
It's almost like I know what to do. Oh,
Patton coming to pit road here.
I like that too.
Pass for third will trigger the undercut. Nobody else is coming in this time. The gap is starting to come down for the lead, but only a 10th here and a 10th there. So it's still about 2.5 seconds for Crampton up to Lehman. But he's chipping away at it at the right time. If we're going to start seeing drivers head to pit road. No takers this time on lap 45. As Roman continuing to slide backwards, here is Justin Michael on the climb. He's up to 8th. Andy Poliski up in 7th. Will be up next for the 87. Hey, there's Mr. Paul Ellison hanging out with us. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you on track here soon. Final 5 races of the season: Indianapolis, Iowa, the Kansas Infield Road Course, Talladega, and Chicagoland. I know Paul's definitely got one of those circled. We'll be running our iteration of the Leighton River Ellison Memorial that night, but even if we weren't, I would think that Paul would want to be on track at Talladega for sure. As here comes Rob Haynes now. He'll be the next to come to pit road. And be barely... That is sketchy. I think this is a sneaky, difficult pit road to get onto. Just because the wall kind of juts out in a weird place, it's sort of an optical illusion of how much room you have. He may not be the last victim of that. So pit stop.
So many times.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. So many times in these trucks to keep your brake bias where it needs to be to race on track, it makes it super difficult to not lock up under heavy braking, either stopping from a wreck or a collision or coming down on the pit road. And it gets really sketchy as you try and woe these things down to the line.
14.8 seconds on pit road for Scott Patton. 15 seconds on pit road for Rob Haynes. Travis Fleming will come down pit road. Justin Michael will try and continue his late march forward. And he's definitely got plenty of life. I mean, he does this. I feel like he does this almost every week, and I still get baited by it every single time. Well, we'll show you the difference in tire life here. Here comes Scott Patton flying up as Justin Michael and James Lehman from the race lead will come down pit road. Man, look how fast Patton is on fresh rubber here. I mean, he is slicing and dicing.
Yeah, a couple of laps ago, he almost put himself in a really bad spot. I think he wanted the top up by the wall, and Hunter Engrav went up there instead, and Patton had to make a quick move and go 3 wide middle. That's kind of one of the dangers about doing the undercut. As much as I love to do it, you can find yourself in some hot water pretty dang quick, whether it be a caution or trying to move through lap traffic. You just have to be as efficient as you can getting around them.
Lots of drivers on pit road now. TJ Crampton, Luke Peterson, Kyle Zittel, Andy Poliski, Charlie Widener, Cole Maxwell, Hunter Leach, Logan Spath, all in to get some service here on lap 50-51. Matt Schlosser, the race leader. Still waiting on him. Vroman, Engrav, Hagee, Smith, DeMade, Groover, and Donshak. Schlosser will be coming down this time. Vroman will follow, so no overcut for Steve. Hunter Engrav is going to go for the overcut, though, and he will stay out to lead a lap. Hagee and Smith also stay it out. Of the drivers out on track, it is Scott Patton, who is tentatively cycled out to the lead. Rob Haynes, the second driver on pit road, out second. Then it's Lehman in third. Lehman now with only 2 seconds back to TJ Crampton, so Crampton outgunned him a little bit on the pit cycle. Here come everybody else. Engrav, Smith, Hagee, all down pit road. So Patton will have the lead, and he'll have it by nearly 4 seconds. I mean, that's a 2-lap undercut to the next driver that pit and a 5-lap undercut to the rest of the field. As Mr. Undercut himself, John Kay, what are the pros and cons to triggering it that early?
Well, one of the pros is definitely the situation he finds himself in now. You have track position. It's kind of wonky if a yellow were to come out right now. You're going to end up restarting on a little bit older tires. But if a caution comes out just before you get ready to pit and you manage to hold, if he holds on to the lead, that's huge. That's usually like A-plus work on the undercut. But it just ultimately ends up giving you track position. And the one con, and I mentioned it when I was talking about his charge earlier, is having to work through traffic if you come down like 5 laps before people. He initially put himself in a good window. If people would have started off to pit, he had probably a second and a half gap, even though he cut it down really quick. But he had to work his way through a lot of trucks, and sometimes that can do a lot of damage to your tires.
So the way they've cycled out, Patton in the lead, Haynes in second, Lehman in third, Crampton, Peterson the top 5, Michael, Zittel, Poliski, Schlosser, Widener the top 10. And really only a couple of drivers close for position here inside the top 10, Zittel and Poliski for 7th. Everybody else has a little bit of space between them, but just as I say that, of course, Justin Michael has pulled up to Luke Peterson with a huge head of steam, and that'll be the challenge for 5th. Michael still trying to dig himself out of the hole that he put himself in to start the race, trying to conserve some tire. But there's no doubt that Michael could very, very well be the fastest driver on the track.
Yeah, that being said, Rob Haynes is sitting with the fastest lap of the race currently. Running second, he's about 2.5 seconds off the lead here.
And he's about to get passed up here by James Lehman, as Lehman will go underneath and get ahead of his teammate. Lehman, the driver that needs a good night here tonight. He, like TJ Crampton, has missed a couple of races, but Lehman has had a couple that he was in control of slip away from him. Think back to last week, of course. He still ended up on the podium there, but remember, he was dominating Darlington early as well and actually spun from the lead, crashed himself out of the race. So that was one that Lehman wanted back for sure. But may have an opportunity to right that wrong. He is catching Scott Patton rather quickly. He is inside of a second and a half now, up to the race lead and closing.
Six laps different on tires for Lehman. Could it be the difference that he needs to get back out front?
It could very well, and I don't think it's going to take him much time at all. Michael's faded away from Luke Peterson, so Breach hanging on to P5 for now.
Yeah, Lehman was 0.6 faster that last lap. I don't think it's going to be long before he's knocking on Patton's door.
Patton will have some traffic to deal with here in the form of Peter Donshak. Currently, Travis Fleming is the only driver not on the lead lap. So if the caution were to come out, he'd get saved by the bell, but Patton going to start working his way into the tail of the field here. Or Patton
Real quick,
or Lehman. Go ahead.
Real quick, I know we just had pit stops, but I like that some of these guys went a little longer. The fuel window was a little wider than I thought it was, being able to run until lap 50. That gives you a lot more options later in the race to set yourself up for the last run.
Here's Lehman, and no contest. Lehman back on point. Max V still podium holdouts. This TJ Crampton must have lost some time on that pit cycle. He was closing in on James Lehman for the lead. Now is held serve in fourth. And is some, 5.5 seconds ahead of Lehman, or behind Lehman rather, when he was inside of 2 before they pit. Boy, they are grouped up from 11th on back. Spread out as they are at the front of the field. 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. All right here is Engrav and Vroman getting elbows out. Heath Smith, the driver on the outside looking in. He needs a big night. This is not where he needs to be. As Dakota DeMade looking around to try and find a way through on Smith. Not going to happen as they're side by side in front of them. They'll continue to sort that out. Meanwhile, Luke Peterson is on the march. He has caught TJ Crampton now and will look for fourth. Oh, that's Vroman.
Into the wall.
And that is caution number 1 of the night. Vroman was battling hard there with Hunter Engrav and has found his way into the wall. Boy, that will sure change a couple things here as we're under caution for the first time here tonight on lap 64.
Almost turned into Ryan Preece there. Holy cow.
Yeah, no kidding. He got a little bit of air underneath that 00. And, man, Vroman had been used up all night. We'll see what happens here as we go to the replay. Oh, Engrav up the track just a little bit. Boy, it's hard to tell. That looked pretty innocuous from both of them. Yeah, we'll try that one more time. Indrav coming up there. Maybe some net code there the first time around. Definitely real contact there the second time. I mean, Ingrav it.
What Vroman needed.
No, certainly not.
In last on the cut line.
I mean, Ingrav, I think technically at fault for that one, but that one looked pretty innocent, even at half speed. I'm sure at full speed it was just one of those deals. But Vroman would argue with the result, I'm sure, because that truck is pretty well torn up. So
most of the field down pit road here,
but not all of them. Charging Charlie is out, and Travis Fleming saved by the bell. He will stay out. But Widener, Smith, and Maxwell, the top three. Everybody else down pit road. TJ Crampton, I think maybe a roll of the dice on strategy, a really short stop for him, and he is out to win the race off of pit road. I mean, most of these guys pit 15 laps ago. Do you like a two-tire call here?
I don't know if I ever like a two-tire call, honestly. But, I mean, if there's ever a time to take a swing, it might as well be right now. But I don't know, actually. I might have lied. I think it's too early for that. I'd have saved that for like a green-white checker at the end.
What do you think, Mr. Ronachek?
I think I agree with that call. Staying out, being on 15-lap-old tires, the lap time fall-off here, even just for 10 laps, is almost a second. So I feel like this top four that stayed out is going to get swallowed up pretty quick. As Cole Maxwell is now down.
I think he just stayed out for the TV time, honestly. He told me to shout him out before I came in here, so shout out Cole.
He will get some TV time. But the other three are staying out, or the other two, rather, are staying out. Widener and Smith on the front row.
I mean, cautions breed cautions, but if this thing goes green to the end, that might be too big of a hole to come back out of to win the race. I know you can come. I know a lot of stuff can happen here. You can be 5 laps down and come back and win, but man, I really don't know. You still have to make a pit stop from here, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this turns out. And it could make me look dumb. Who knows? It wouldn't be the first time, that's for sure.
That's the thing I've learned about doing this for so long now is nothing is a certainty. There are no guarantees when it comes to iRacing. Fate has its own way.
Yeah, I think that if this was a full, 30, 35 car field, that maybe staying out would be the call. Like John said, cautions breed cautions, but being we're sitting at a 21 car field, I think the call was to come down and get the tires to save that lap time.
Well, we'll see if indeed cautions do breed cautions here. Widener and Smith have stayed out. Crampton rolling the dice on 2 tires. We're underway.
Outside line getting held up a little bit. Looks like Heath Smith might have had a bad getaway.
Yeah, Smith did not get a good jump there. Lehman has to duck underneath. So that's one of the older tire runners already shuffled out. As Haynes and Michael, they're teammates, but they're going out of there on the bottom. Peterson getting in the mix there as well. Here's TJ Crampton now, boxed in behind Widener. Widener now will drift up in front of James Lehman. Widener will lead a lap under green here as, boy, they are at the choke point there in the tri-oval. Michael hits the wall. We're nearly 4 wide. We are 3 for the lead. As
Patton
Widener
had to back out there.
Patton wisely backs out. Widener going backwards. Lehman back on point with Haynes and Crampton. Justin Michael 3 wide, right in the middle there. Widener going the wrong direction. Oh, and Luke Peterson up into Widener there, nearly back down into Kyle Zittel. Zittel will get a 2 for 1.
I think Zittel caught him by surprise there, pulled a little bonsai move into 3 and 4, and I like that.
Halfway bonus points are in the books. Actually happened on that restart coming to the green. So that may have been the thinking there for Charlie Widener and for Heath Smith to try and get 10 and 9 bonus points respectively, as Patton now on the bottom of 3 wide. Crampton in the middle, Michael up top. They're side by side for the lead. Lehman and Haynes. This is the pack racing I thought we were going to see to start this race. It never quite materialized, but it's definitely here now. Zittel into the mix. And who better to pack race with than the 53?
Yeah, it's go time now. Now you need to make sure you have track position when we get to the next set of pit stops, whether they're under yellow or under green. A lot of people, I think, took it easy off the jump, but now it's time to get up on your horse.
Here's Zach Lockett cheering on Matt Schlosser. Schlosser back in 10th. I think 10th is going to be good enough for him to get into the postseason, but you don't want to go much further down than that. One driver we haven't talked about at all is Josh Hagee. He's hanging here inside the top 10. He's been clicking off the top 10s here the last couple of weeks. Still side by side for the lead. Heyman's up top, Lehman down low. I say Heyman's? Rob Haynes is up top. James Lehman is down low. Yeah, Paul Heyman.
All Heyman?
Who's this Bailey Marie that keeps popping in the chat?
I don't know. Justin Michael has a good run on the top. It looks like Lehman might want to fall in line here and just ride.
Andy Poliski into the mix here as Patton is backing up. And Lehman will give up that spot. So Michael up to second. Well, I don't know. I don't want to give any daylight to the 87 if I don't have to. Luke Peterson trying to close back in as now Justin Michael is going down low in search of the lead. And Lehman thought maybe he was going to try and sneak it in the middle there. He'll take it down low, though, and take him 3 wide for the lead. Michael doesn't get to celebrate for long as the 51's back up onto the front of the field. Haynes rolls out up top. We're back to 2 wide. 33 will have some momentum. Where can he take it? Takes it right to the back bumper. Michael juts down in front of the 50. And it's the 87 by himself up front.
I think all 3 of these guys know just how important track position is going to be when it comes to this stage stretching out and coming to that last pit cycle, especially if it is under green. It makes a huge difference to be in clean air.
Two drivers that got helped out massively by that caution, Justin Michael and TJ Crampton. Crampton, though, presumably on an alternate strategy here, still hanging in the top 5. And now maybe looking to challenge Rob Haynes for spot number 3.
I really like these 1.5-mile tracks because you can really see 3 distinctive lines come into play as people get on different strategies and different tire wear. And it really makes a difference on where you can run where other guys aren't. And that's the key to making passes, especially late in the races. You can't make a pass on the bottom if the driver in front of you is running the bottom.
And I think this is the track that was most helped by the first stage of the oval refresh. You go back to the Venom Truck Series. I can't remember if it was Season 6 or Season 7. John, you were in the mix there. The top 4 were pretty much nose to tail the entire race, and nobody could make a pass. This thing was locked down. Running similar proximities here, but you have the freedom of choice between your lines, like Joshua was saying.
Yeah, I used to dread this place as Layman's gonna throw a bomb on Justin Michael.
Can't
That
quite
was
make it stick as Michael's going to get back underneath, but you're right.
that was beautiful.
That was licked and mailed.
No stamps.
Oh, that might be the stamp right there, maybe to the tailgate of Justin Michael.
I mean, there's the perfect example. As I think we're gonna get another one into 1 and 2. Oh, just can't quite get there. But that's a perfect example of what you were talking about. You couldn't do that a couple of seasons ago using Venom as a time reference here. It was terrible. It was so tight, and it's like I talked about earlier or before the race. Whether you're going to need help from another truck to pass, because that's the only way you could pass back then, was you literally needed somebody to bump draft you by whoever you were in front of, and then you had to help them tow them along, basically. So it's this place has become so much more enjoyable in my eyes because now you actually have to drive a little bit. Yeah, it's still pack racing, but I feel like it's a lot more in your hands as a driver.
Peterson and Patton side by side now for 5th place. 6th, rather.
Oh, wow. That was close.
Ooh.
Well, Patton will hang on. Literally.
I thought Luke was getting ready to wave at some fans in the infield.
I think so.
From a driver's perspective, making a move like that, your only correlation between you and the wall is the driver outside of you. So if they get a little loose and slide up to that wall, you don't know where it's at. It makes it really difficult, especially at a track like this when you're running on worn tires, to really judge how close you can get to that truck next to you.
Crampton going to try and have a go here on Haynes as Lehman has started to close back in, and he's searching around for a way through on his teammate Justin Michael. Michael's already punched his ticket to the postseason. Lehman not quite in a must-win, but it sure would be nice. A little extra security.
I like the line Layman's running. He ran the middle through 3 and 4 that time, but he generated that big run through the tri-oval and into 1 and 2. He cut down from the middle to the bottom and just gained huge momentum. I'll be interested to see if he breaks that back out here in a couple of laps when he is ready to.
So the caution came out on lap 65. The only two drivers that didn't come down pit road were Charlie Widener and Heath Smith. They fall into 14th and 15th. But with the caution coming out on lap 65, what is the name of the game here in terms of fuel strategy to the end of this race?
Sure. make the right
Picked
choice.
The wrong people for fuel strategy.
Well, we'll let you two chew on that here for a second as Peterson and Patton cannot get off each other's door here all of a sudden. They are still going at it for 6th, and they've caught Kyle Zittel in front of them as well. Patton going to set the pick and roll on Kyle Zittel to get ahead of Peterson. May get the 53 and may be eyeing down the 72 at Crampton here as well.
Yeah, I think Patton knows that it's go time.
Does not want to let Justin Michael and James Lehman drive away, and they are definitely doing that. Big gap from the 50 back to the 33. Patton, another driver, uncomfortably close to the cut line.
Oh, what the heck?
A little blink in there for James Lehman, I think.
I thought somebody wrecked. I saw a blink and then a bunch of tire smoke. I was lost. I don't know. I feel like at this point in the race, that window may open. I mean, I'd almost think about pitting as soon as the window opens. The way it strung out after the first set of green flag pit stops. Try and build yourself a big enough gap on those fresh tires. If they pit 4 or 5 laps after you, they can't overcome. And just run that thing out. But again, well documented, not the best when it comes to pit strategy.
Well,
Yeah,
apologies.
I think I agree on that one, on that call, because you want to keep your lap times as consistent as possible. So if you can split it halfway would be ideal, to keep your lap times as consistent as possible. Looking at about 25 laps on tires, you're working on 2 seconds off pace here. So it makes a big difference to even just save a couple laps at 2 seconds off. It makes a big difference when you get to the finish.
Boy, Scott Patton, the big loser there. He's way up the track. Out of the mix now for the podium spot is Crampton having a go here on Haynes.
Peterson has a big run into the corner.
Luke looking around for the clean air like John mentioned, but it also kind of looks like he's having trouble holding the bottom of the track a little bit, especially in traffic here. Not so much an issue when you're not side by side, but as it just so happens, he's been side by side for most of the laps here recently. James Lehman coming in from second, and the fuel window is open.
Somebody's making me look like I know what I'm talking about. Thank you.
I think that's a clean air call. He wants to be by himself to put in some good laps here.
So the undercut is open. Heath Smith going to come in with him. Smith desperately needed to come down anyway. It's Crampton and Haynes. Now this is the battle for second. And second, third, fourth, and fifth. And sixth, all right here. And in fact, they're 3 wide. Crampton in the middle, Peterson on the bottom, Patton on the top. And Crampton gets himself out of that mess, at least tentatively.
Oh, I think this is going to work out beautifully for James Lehman. He's coming out in a nice pocket of clean air. That's going to work out really well.
It's the Formula One find me a gap strategy on the pit call. Pit me into the gap, Bono. My tires are gone. Boy, Haynes down onto the flat to try and defend. He is blocking 4 lanes like he's Ricky Stenhouse or Joey Logano.
That's it's a fresh wound right there.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
I'm upset. That took my guy Gregson out. Kind of upset about that still.
It took a lot of guys out. Don't worry.
No.
Whoa, Patton nearly sandwiching Crampton into the wall there. Peterson, a little bump draft action now. Sorry, we like Rob Haynes more than Stenhouse or Logano as well.
Yeah.
But he definitely has his hands full either way. As I feel like Crampton has been in every single lane in the last 3 laps. Oh, no! Crampton turns Patton into Haynes, and the caution is out. Crampton, or rather Patton, back down the track, and Andy Poliski with nowhere to go up and into the wall. And that is caution number 2, and that is not what James Lehman wanted to see.
But that is exactly what Justin Michael wanted.
Yes, it is. Not only to get James Lehman off your tail, but that's 3 of the 4 drivers that were running behind you, now all with damage.
Oh, man. That is one of the other cons of the undercut right there. I think you're cruising along.
That exact thing is what caught me out in Venom a couple weeks ago.
Well, these drivers are all going to duck onto pit road, but let's take a look here as it's already started. By the time that replay gets going, we're going to take this at full speed. You're riding on the far chase with TJ Crampton. That's Haynes ahead of him, Patton underneath. Oh, and Crampton just a little flick of the wrist even, and it puts him right down onto the right rear quarter panel of Scott Patton.
Ooh, that's a...
We'll go
that's a tough...
kickpot cam here at full speed. Just that little movement there. And that gets him all tangled up. I don't think that's terminal damage for any one of the three of them. It may be terminal damage for the underpants of Andy Poliski. We'll try and take a ride with him here.
Second close call here. That put him into the wall. Same thing happened to him in Venom a couple weeks ago.
Patton right down. Oh my gosh. What a reaction by Poliski. He couldn't do anything other than put himself into the wall, but Patton came down right in front of him. Boy, oh boy.
Phew. That is...
And Crampton stopped down on the bottom of the track. I'm sure that's probably to get himself to the tail of the field here. So Justin Michael out in front. Luke Peterson in second. Kyle Zittel. Matt Schlosser. Would have been Hunter Leach, but he's just come down pit road. So it's now Josh Heggie to round out the top five. That is only caution number 2 on the night. Cautions breeding cautions. We're almost to 30 to go. Cautions may be becoming more of a fixture here as this one draws to a close. That's just a guess, though.
Yeah, you thought these guys were aggressive on the last restart and laps after that. This is, I mean, it's basically going to be a 33, 34 lap sprint to the finish. It's going to be elbows up and as far, I mean, taking as much as you can from everybody else.
And don't look now, but we have Hunter Ingrab is sitting just outside the top 5 on this restart.
Wasn't he just involved in an accident?
Yeah, I was about to say, coming back from an EOL, that's good stuff from Hunter.
So we'll round out your top 6. Brandon Groover, Peter Donchek, Steve Roman, Scott Patton, right back in the top 10. Roman and Patton with the damage. Crampton back in 11th, Poliski in 12th, all with damage as well. But it's Justin Michael up front. All the Max V drivers around him are gone, and it's a lot of Venom representation at the front of the field as we're back at our way. The Venom boys did not get a great jump there. Justin Michael out to a comfortable lead to start off. It could be the run to the checkers. Single file back to Engrav in 7th. Lots of slicing and dicing behind them. Don't forget about James Lehman. He is going to be pushing with a head of steam, and Lehman is already up to 8th after restarting outside the top 10. One in the wall. I think it was Rob Haynes, and Haynes is nearly sideways, or nearly around, rather, in the tri-oval. He is going to drop like a rock through this field.
Oh, Engrav around. Into the wall.
Into the wall. And the caution's out.
He might have had a shot from Vroman there.
Oh, boy.
Well. Let's take a look here. Caution number 3. And coming a little late here, but that does seem to be about the case. Watching from the chase. Vroman hits him once, then into the left rear quarter panel. And that should about let you know how he felt about the caution earlier. All that work to get yourself back into the top 10, only to be hit with an EOL here.
Oh. Yeah, sometimes, sometimes you have to wonder if it's retaliation. I think there was definitely no lack of effort on Roman's part trying to get there. I love Steve to death, but yeah, It looked like he was trying his best
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Yeah, we'll deal with that one later. A lot to unpack there.
Hey man, it's a high stress environment right now, especially being in the position he was in. And I'm not arguing and saying anybody's right or wrong. I will say that too, but not a surprise to see tempers flare is what I should say.
Well, it's shouldn't change anything for Hunter Engrav. He is through to the postseason.
Looking back at Rob Haynes' incident, it looks like Peter Donchek got into the wall, and Rob Haynes had to take evasive maneuvers and just ended up in the grass on the infield, just barely. Very, very well handled save from him.
Let's see if we could find that.
I was trying to cycle back to see who it was because I saw the initial save but didn't want to blurt out a name. That was a really good bit of driving there. And then, of course, I start to move away from him, and I missed the second half of him almost losing it. But good job by Rob keeping it straight in both instances. I mean, it's not hard to get behind on your corrections and counter corrections,
especially when you got a left side in the grass.
Yeah.
So looking at it on the replay there, yeah, Donchek, that truck just straightened out. Went straight into the wall. Little reaction there from Haynes, but like you said, great save down in the grass.
Ooh.
So we're back under caution here for the third time. They're starting to add up a little bit. Coming to 30 to go, with Michael and now Kyle Zittel to the outside. This outside line, though, has not, it doesn't matter who it's been, they've not gotten good restarts on the outside of the front row.
Justin Michael's done a really good job here, leading this pack off and being able to get away. And being on same tires, that's really what he needs to get clean air to hopefully stay in front of this thing.
Back it away.
Caught him sleeping again.
Yeah, that outside is just not going.
I think Luke was a little late on the alarm, on his alarm too. But the one thing I think those guys have going for them, if they can stay lined up, it can be 3v1, them versus Justin Michael, and then they can sort it out from there. But here comes James Lehman into the picture too.
Yeah, I wouldn't count out Lehman or Patton definitely, but Charlie Widener is also looking outside of the top 5 here.
Patton going to put himself in the middle of 3 wide. Oh, and Hagee crowding the 46. Patton rolls out of it as Kyle Zittel will regain 3rd from Matt Schlosser. Peterson hanging right here with the 87.
Lehman getting some help. Hopefully get around Josh Hagee here. And he will. Patton going to fall in line.
Well, Brandon Groover getting into the top 10 for the first time tonight. He's under fire, though, from Heath Smith, who was, with the last couple of cautions, has found his way back into the lead lap here after the strategy call earlier. Likewise with Charlie Widener there at 8th. Zittel going to take it underneath his teammate here for 2nd. Patton up into the wall behind them.
Lehman looking underneath Schlosser now. Makes it stick.
Peterson maybe a scrape of the wall there out of turn 4. Lehman gunning for it as Patton is underneath Schlosser, and he will get clear on the 400.
It's a good battle on the outside by Luke. He's run the bottom
Whoa!
so much
Oh, they
tonight.
touched.
And that was
Oh,
Lehman
no.
putting Peterson
in the
into the
grab.
wall. And Lehman is dirt tracking it through the baseball field, and he's still in danger here. He'll save it. And that is detrimental to the night for the 89 and for the 50.
Is that my first commentator's curse? Does that count?
It might be.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the party.
Oh, man. I'm just as bad as you guys now.
Zittle's not done. All the fireworks going on around, and it's still Zittle trying to track down Justin Michael here for a race win at Las Vegas.
I'm not saying squat about it now. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Peterson, I think, has started to make the move back forward. He's up to 9th. So continue to run side by side behind them. Patton in 3rd, Schlosser in 4th, Haynes in 5th, but it's Justin Michael and Kyle Zittle the top 2. Michael now putting a little distance back to the 53. 21 laps to go. We'll take a peek back here really quick at Dakota DeMade and Brandon Groover side by side. Groover looking for a late race push to stay in the top 10. Maybe, just maybe, find his way into this chase. He's going to need a few more positions to get it done. Schlosser coming back here on Patton for 3rd.
Just real quick, since you brought up the chase, that's going to be tough to overcome for Lehman. 90 points back in the cut line. All the way back there now. Wherever he went. 15th.
15th, yeah.
Yeah.
He'll pick up some bonus points on the night for sure, but that's not enough to overcome a finish outside of the top 10. Oh, as Haynes nearly sending Patton for a ride. As Haynes gets clear on Schlosser, and now we'll get clear on Heggie just by an inch or two. And now it's Charlie Widener into the mix. Nearly 4 wide.
Middle.
Widener keeping it tight here on Heggie. As Schlosser will roll out of it on the bottom. And Widener now a little bit of door action there to the side of the 7.
Patton into the wall in front of him. Goes Peterson, putting it 3 wide on the apron.
Now look at Luke Peterson coming back here. Driving with determination.
Schlosser's
got the rally
falling
cap
back here
on.
pretty quick.
Heggie looking underneath of Widener, not going to make it work, but Charlie Widener is moving with a purpose here on the inside. 0.6 of a second, the gap from Michael back to Zittle. You're not missing anything for the top 2. This is the battle for 3rd on back with 17 to go. And it is a mess as Peterson has to roll out of it, not to clobber the one of Heath Smith.
P. Smith gets a little high into Heggie.
Seeing the door come out more and more here.
Yeah, the time for give and take is over. It's all take now. You're gonna have to box some people out. Any basketball fans out there, or throw some elbows if you're a Bill Laimbeer fan, I suppose.
Travis Fleming now is sitting just outside the top 10 after being at the tail for most of the first stint.
He was a lap down early in this race. So great recovery for the 26. Gap is now 1.2 seconds from Michael back to Zittel. 15 to go. Haynes and Patton side by side.
You know, I can't remember if he's led any laps or if he's going to get any bonus points, but Patton's going to have to kind of be careful here. He really needs to hold position, especially with Widener right behind him. Those two guys, they're the ones kind of battling, well, other than Will Weiser falling out, not being here tonight. So that makes my point moot. But, you know, just trying to battle it out here. Maybe you can gain a spot in points also. So there is that. You get a couple extra points for the chase, but Patton really is going to have to try and hold position here, and at the most give up one position if he's going to lose one. He can't lose 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's another thing to point out as well. These drivers who are in already are fighting for seed. They're fighting for extra points headed into the final 5 races. Patton, at this point in the race, probably has that luxury, but if things happen to go south here in the final 11 laps, he may be in some trouble.
That being said here, Patton and Haynes are both Max V guys, and you kind of wonder if maybe Rob Haynes is going to help him out, and because Rob Haynes is already past the cut line, so
I'm sure they both want to catch up to Kyle Zittel. Zittel is 2 seconds back, but another 1.4 seconds from Patton up to Zittel. So they've still got some work to do if they're going to do it. No real challenges for position right now, save for the battle for 11th. That's Fleming with the spot. Hunter Leach trying to take it away. Good to give a call to a Team 200 driver. Battling for position, getting a little bit more comfortable on the pavement ovals. Been running the Venom Truck Series the last couple of weeks. A couple of times this season, rather. So shout out to Hunter Leach. Give him a little TV time here. So him and Dakota DeMade are at the back of the train. And the engine pulling them all along right now is the 46. They are gaining on Zittel little by little. Now to a 2 1/4 inside of 10 to go.
sitting in Zittel's spot here in second, being a little over 2 seconds out. With this many laps left, there really isn't much that he can do to reel in the lead. So really it's just riding and trying to keep distance from Patton in third.
It's about a tenth a lap at this point. If he could keep on that pace, he'll be okay. It'll be close, but it won't be enough. But can he maintain that pace? That's the question. One thing's for certain.
Yeah, if I'm in,
If Justin Michael can keep his pace, this is his race to lose, no doubt. But Zittel, a little bit more on the hot seat.
yeah, if I'm in Zittle's shoes here, I mean, you feel like you might be safe, but this is a point where you're like, I still want to try and find a little something just to keep myself safe. You don't want to fall into that lull of, okay, I'm doing good enough.
Patton breaking away from the train just a bit.
He's pulled up to about a second on Zittel. Taking some ground as Hagee looks underneath Widener.
Five
That would be
laps
for
to go.
fifth.
Now, Hagee would love to get into the top five. Widener would like to stay in the top five, I'm sure. And I'm sure what Justin Michael would love is to make sure that this race stays green from here on out. First time we got to call out Logan Spath here tonight. He's going to try and make a pass on the outside of Travis Fleming and Will. That'll be to take 13th away.
Yeah, Justin Michael's playing no whammy right now. He's just hoping and praying.
Widener underneath Rob Haynes for fourth. This is where Josh Hagee wants to be. Watching these guys battle in these last couple laps, it might open up an opportunity for him to be a little bit faster and seal the deal on that top five.
Widener needs every point that he can get. It's a pretty big, or a fairly big leap from 6th to 5th. You'll get, obviously, some kind of a leap from 5th to 4th.
Heath Smith's another one you got to keep your eye on near that cut line, just in case worst case scenario happens between Haynes and Widener, or Hagee also being there. But always want to have a place to go, try to give yourself the best shot.
If Widener needs those points, Heath Smith desperately is needing some points here. No telling what he might do here with 2 laps to go. The gap
Send it down pit lane.
I don't know about that. I don't think Garrett's going to clear that one. The gap between Zittel and Patton is stabilized at about 0.8 of a second, so second is Zittel's to lose at this point.
Zittel ran a really good lap last lap. He was 0.2 quicker. That's a way to go and find something late in a run. Secure your spot.
Well, Heath Smith bounced it off the wall and nearly took out Josh Hagee, but the white flag is out. Chase implications further back.
Top three seems to be secured, but fourth back, we're looking at a pretty decent battle. Heath Smith going to look to the bottom of Hagee.
And it'll be a series-high 3rd victory of the season, the 8th of his career. The Birds Aren't Real 200 will go to Justin Michael.
Oh.
Kyle Zittel will take 2nd, Scott Patton in 3rd, and Charlie Widener going to steal 4th from Rob Haynes there on the final lap. Haynes takes 5th, Hagee 6th, Smith in 7th. Luke Peterson, a great recovery, all things considered, in 8th. Brandon Groover in 9th, Matt Schlosser in 10th.
You want to say 5th, 6th, and 7th again, 3 times fast, real quick? See if we can do it. Put you to the test.
Haynes, Hagee, Smith?
Is that what you... No, when you were saying they were 5th, 6th, and 7th and saying their names.
Yeah. No, I can't do that. Sorry.
I don't think anybody could. I give you mad props for trying it.
That's my job, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, if this is my job, then Justin Michael's job is to win, and he's been doing it a lot here this season. Not a surprise. You know, we are in Vegas. It's sort of let the chips fall as they may, and boy, a lot of chips fell here tonight. We'll have a lot to sift through at the end of this one from an admin standpoint, but one thing's for sure, Justin Michael did his job here tonight and will take his 8th win with Truck 200.
That's just kind of the kind of momentum you want going into the chase also.
The Daniel Defense 87 Toyota Tundra. And there goes the TRD power plant. He's cost Toyota a lot of money on the channel here in years past. So that will be it for the celebration as the 87 will pull back down onto the apron. If I could find the button that I'm supposed to hit, we'll look at the finishing order. And there it is. All right, it's Justin Michael with the win. Kyle Zittel in second, the decent one, P2, and Scott Patton in third. We'll talk to your podium finishers here in just a sec. Charlie Widener and Rob Haynes, your top five. Josh Hagee in sixth. Heath Smith in seventh. Luke Peterson in eighth. It is Brandon Groover, Matt Schlosser, the rest of your top 10. Dakota DeMade will bring it home in 11th. It is Hunter Leach in 12th. James Lehman, 13th. Logan Spath and Travis Fleming, your top 15. 16th for Steve Roman. Cole Maxwell in 17th. Peter Donchek in 18th. Andy Poliski in 19th. And DNFs for TJ Crampton and Hunter Engrav in 20th and 21st. So we will maybe go looking here for Scott Patton if he doesn't pop up here in just a second. I got to get a little bit better with these buttons here anyway. There's a lot of buttons to look through. We'll go ahead and try and hot swap. We'll just bring him straight in. Scott Patton here. Third place finisher here tonight. Welcome back to the booth. And had to get your elbows out a lot here tonight. We'll take a podium finish for the road here for the chase. Nicely done.
Yeah, for sure. Elbows for sure. That one was a whole mix of things from gas mileage to tire wear to strategy to 3 wide, 4 wide probably at times. But yeah, we went from the front to the middle to the back and back to the front. So we'll take a podium after this one.
I mean, yeah, some a little bit of sliding as well with the crash there. A little bit after the halfway mark of this one, and you had your work cut out for you coming back through the field after that.
Yeah, I was just looking at that replay. It was a tough break there I know, first off, it was awesome racing with all these guys for so long. I mean, it takes a lot of talent for all these guys to race, 2, 3 wide, to swap, slide jobs and just swap spots like that for that long. So that was a blast, first and foremost. But looks like the 72 maybe stuck his nose in there, and I don't know if I didn't quite give him enough room for what he was planning to do 3 wide there. But either way, it happens, and glad we could at least get out of that one with just a couple scratches on this New England Racing Museum Chevy and not too much damage, and work our way back to the front. So, yeah, good times.
Got a little extra company in the booth here tonight. John K., do you have anything for Scott?
For once in my life, I really don't. I just think it was an incredible run. Fun watching the Max V boys work, and glad to have one of them on the podium. I wish I had a question.
Joshua, you got anything?
Yeah, Scott Patton being the last car above the cut line going into this race, surely this podium feels good and will put you in a good position going into the chase. But, what are your feelings and strategy here going into these last couple races?
I don't really know. I haven't put too much thought into it. Tonight was all about getting into the chase, so I hope that I did enough to get there. I kind of went in with a strategy of, just top 5, maybe top 10, and stay out of trouble. And I just kind of got wrapped up in the racing there, and it was too much fun not to race with those guys. And sure enough, in turn 3 there, we got into trouble. And then I remember on that caution, I kept telling myself this is exactly what I didn't want to have happen. But nonetheless, we dug our way out of it, didn't give up, and came back to a podium. So, yeah, now that we're here, we'll regroup this week and look at the schedule, see what kind of weird tracks Tommy's got on the schedule.
Oh, come on.
Weird.
Only one.
Weird is a pretty tame term, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. I mean, we do pick some funny tracks. We do have the Kansas Infield Road Course smack dab in the middle of the chase here, but it's Indianapolis, Iowa, Talladega, and Chicagoland. I mean, 4 pretty normal tracks outside of that. So, and a variety of tracks there as well.
I mean, I figure if we can't race New Hampshire 5 times in a row, I guess that's the second best.
Well, thanks for the time here tonight. Welcome back to the podium. And we'll wish you best of luck in the chase here as well. But let's get some shout outs for you before we let you go.
Yeah, appreciate all you guys, everybody at Max V Racing and Bandit Motorsports. All their help takes a team effort to get these podiums, especially in this league for sure. It's a tough league, and I was looking at the standings the other day, realizing that we have not collected a single trophy all season. So we're looking to change that around in this New England Racing Museum Silverado. We've got Stone River Outfitters on the quarter panels there. If you're looking for any fly tying fishing gear, check them out, stoneriveroutfitters.com. And certainly you guys for calling a great race. We enjoy watching all the replays for sure, and all the new help in the booth, looking to see what they can do, and looking to check out the highlights from this one, and appreciate all your time.
All right, thank you, partner. Thanks for the time here tonight. Well, hopefully you go trophy hunting like you did in the Max V playoffs as well here in the chase. We're looking forward to it.
That's the plan. Thanks, guys.
And another driver who was trophy hunting here tonight, but we'll come up just a little bit short at the home away from home, the decent one, Kyle Zittel, with a more than decent run here tonight, P2 here at the 1.5 miles. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Well, what do you make of the night like tonight? You were hanging around the top 5 most of the night. All of a sudden, there are drivers and trucks going every which way, and you seem to benefit from it and are giving Justin Michael a bit of a challenge there towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was kind of just hanging out the whole first run. We were kind of all talking, and plan came along of running long the first stint and then kind of going real hard the second one, and and then racing all the way to the end. So my first run, I was really just cruising. Luke caught up behind me there, and he would dive to the apron and come back up, and I didn't know if he wanted to follow me, if he wanted to get around me. I just said, Lucas, I am in no hurry to catch that group up there, because they're starting to get rowdy and starting to get close to each other. The tires were starting to wear out, but yeah, it was nice to be up front at the end there and have a shot. And it's gonna be tough with that 87 in front of you, and he just drove away. But it was nice to hold everybody off behind me.
Well, this time we'll let Joshua go first, because I'm sure John K. has a lot he wants to say. But Mr. Matacek, what you got?
Oh, good to see you up here. But yeah, you mentioned talking with Luke, and how much difference does it play into a race when you have other drivers that you're able to talk with about strategy and race call versus being by yourself during a race?
It helps a ton. Just kind of knowing that you're all on one strategy, or not necessarily on one strategy, but the options are out there for what everybody wants to do, and it's we're not all gonna pit on the same lap or take the same amount of stuff and all that, but it's nice to have things to bounce ideas off of people. You get to know how things feel up front. Steve Ruman was in that lead pack up front, and by the time we caught him, it's kind of like, hey, how are they racing? How are they doing? Whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to have people with you, and yeah.
All right, John, have at him.
Well, first off, why couldn't you win? No, I'm just kidding. A great run tonight. I mean, it's not really a surprise, especially for people like myself who know you pretty well. What is it about Vegas that just marries with your driving style so well? I mean, you always run, you're always up front here. It does not matter what the competition level is. Obviously, great guys here in the Truck 200 League, and then the Venom guys also. You're up front a ton. So, is there a certain thing about this track and your driving style that you think just marries well, or what is it? Give us your secrets.
I think this place has turned into like a smaller Michigan or auto club. It feels that way to me. It feels like a big arcing top to bottom kind of track that flows with I've run really well at Michigan and Auto Club and those tracks. So this this works for me. Sometimes you got to run the high line. Sometimes you can just keep bringing it down to the bottom. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how this feels to me. And I think every time we've run, or every time I've run Vegas in a league, I've finished in the top 5. So yeah, I'm gonna keep putting it in the ballot for Venom forever. I don't care how much people hate it.
Yeah, that was a nice humble brag. No further questions, Your Honor.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the time here tonight. Congrats on a strong podium run here at Vegas. Let's get some shout-outs for you.
Yeah, shout out to all the Venom guys that sit up in the booth occasionally, that come out and drive this league, and who I get to race with every Tuesday night. Shout out to John K for the beautiful paint scheme, the Buchanan Cold Shower Chevrolet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Looking pretty under the lights. Shout out to my beautiful wife. Shout out to my folks, everybody that watches. Yeah, and obviously you guys, Tommy and Matt, wherever you might be.
Wherever he is.
Yeah, he's off in the world somewhere. He doesn't matter tonight. But thanks for the time here tonight. Go celebrate a P2, and we'll hope to talk to you again here soon.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.
We'll go ahead and bring in your race winner here for the 3rd time this season. It is not a surprise to see Justin Michael on the top step here at 1.5 miles, walking away from the rest of the field. 3.3 seconds going to be the margin of victory here tonight. Justin Michael, welcome back to the booth.
Appreciate it, sir. It was a really good night.
Definitely was. It started interestingly. You dug yourself a pretty big hole there in the usual strategy to save tire. But, I mean, you dug out of it pretty well even before that caution came out. But once that first caution came out, man, you were borderline untouchable.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, I didn't have to really run the race to even, because I'm already locked in. So I wanted to try something just to see if, like, extreme tire saving would work. And, yeah, it didn't. So I know I made up a lot of spots, but I still didn't make up all of them. But I know we came out of the pits there in 6th or so. So. But we were still, 6 seconds back of Lehman. But I definitely got into pits in and out a lot better than him because I did make up some time there too. But yeah, strategy didn't work. I'm not going to do that again.
John, what you got?
Yeah. So for the people that don't save tires or maybe don't race, can you explain to them kind of like tonight you went for an extreme tire save? When do you know it's time to go? Do you set it like a certain lap time or a certain lap number that you're just like, okay, when I get to this point, I'm going to try and move my way forward and see what I can do? Or is it just a feel thing? You're just like, I feel like going now.
Kind of all of the above, really. It just depends on how many laps there are. Usually I'll save anywhere between, the start to 20 laps and then kind of start pushing it there. It also depends on how the drop off is. Like you'll of course start, you're a lot slower. Okay, but as you go, you're going to slowly catch them and lap-wise while you're still saving. And then when you get kind of even, you can kind of start pushing it there too. I don't know, it just depends on the track and how many laps there are. Like this had a lot of laps, so that's why I was going with the dropping back. It was saving a ton. But, if you could only go 30 laps on a tank, that definitely wouldn't work.
And Mr. Joshua Monachek, you'll be seeing plenty of Justin Michael on Thursday nights, I would imagine. So a good first meeting off the track between you two here. What you got for the race winner?
Good to see you here. Obviously, it was a great race to watch and call. You kind of spoke to the strategy that you had built up through this race. But, a track like this 1.5 miles, where the tire wear seems to fall off and your lap times slow down pretty quickly. How important is it to have, track position over clean air, or is it the other way around?
Well, this track, it seems like track position's better because the aero push here is just terrible. I was telling the guy that finished second, I said, I knew if I could keep you behind me for 10 laps, you couldn't touch me because you just can't pass here. And I kind of did the same with James there after that one caution. As soon as I got in front of him, he just dropped like a rock. So the arrows here is terrible. So track position's definitely a lot better than saving.
Well, eyes forward to the chase now. You were locked in after last week anyway, but take an extra couple of bonus points into the chase. 8 drivers for 5 races. Pretty 4 pretty normal tracks and then a road course that I'm sure you're thrilled about. But I know you want to win all 5 races and make this an easy run to the title for you. But what are the expectations?
Yeah, who came up with Kansas road course? I mean, I knew it had a road course, but I didn't know we actually ran on it here. So, but I don't know. I just kind of just staying consistent. You know, Gavin's going to be a good competitor there, especially at the road course. You know, I'm sure he'll win. So as long as we can get a top 5 or so there, I'll have to do some practice, and I can't provision my way out of that one. So. All the other tracks, though, you know, what is it? It's Indy, isn't it Talladega,
Yep.
and there's a couple others. I don't remember.
Iowa and Chicagoland are the other 2. Yep.
I run pretty good at most of those, so it'll be fun because Chicago's like this place. You know, it's gonna be aero sensitive again, I'm sure, and flat out, which I hate, but we'll hopefully we'll run pretty good there. Iowa will be tricky. Scott and James are. I don't know if they locked their way in or what, but they're pretty good there.
Well, I'm sure you'll like Chicagoland a lot more if you can hoist the hardware at the end of the season. And you did win the last time we were there, too. So, but great job here tonight. Congrats on win number 8 with the Truck 200. Let's get some shout-outs for you.
Yeah, just you guys watching. There's a lot of people up here tonight calling this race. That's awesome. And hopefully there's a lot of people watching. And, you put on a great leg. I know it's the last one, so. All the bandit guys out down there. Was hoping for a 1-2-3 finish, but it didn't work out. So maybe next time. So, but we appreciate it.
All right, partner. Thanks for the time. Go celebrate. We'll talk to you again hopefully next week.
Thanks, guys.
Or hopefully Thursday night as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And Joshua, we'll get you back up here in the booth Thursday night. We had a little start and stop with them canceling or rather postponing the season opener from last Thursday to this Thursday. So for anybody that heard the announcement and was like, well, I missed the broadcast. No, you didn't. It didn't happen. But you got a good look at a lot of Max V drivers tonight. They were right there towards the front of the heap all night long. What was your big takeaway overall, Max V or not related there? What was your first time up from on high like here tonight?
It was a blast, really. I just enjoy anything racing. And, to be on this side of it instead of sitting in a driver's seat is definitely different, but it's just as fun, just as much enjoyment. And I'm super excited to be with you for the whole season of Max V.
And John K., it was your first time up top tonight here as well, though we won't get you for Max V on Thursday nights. But what did you make of the whole experience here?
I think it was a blast. It's definitely, having done broadcasting in real life, it's a big change, not being able to just move your head and look where you want to look and look at all the stuff going on. But it gives me a whole new respect for what you and Matt do on a week-to-week basis. And thankful I got the opportunity to come up here and see how hard it is to actually do it week to week. So when I laugh at something you guys say, or normally laugh at stuff you guys say, from now on, I'm going to be a little more like, yeah, I understand why they said that now. But no, you guys crush it. I hope I did an okay enough job to possibly come back at some point. And it was a blast. I had almost as much fun as I did when I ran only 20 laps and watched the rest of the race. So I consider that a win.
Well, hopefully you're never in a position to where you're out of a race early, but certainly more than welcome to come back into the booth in a Venom Truck Series race if that ever were to happen. And Joshua likewise as well. But we're paying Joshua. You just showed up here tonight. So appreciate you.
Wait, you're getting paid?
I mean, not for tonight, but for Thursday nights, yeah.
Oh, well,
okay.
Whatever.
Well,
I do this for free anyways.
We'll talk about this off air, I guess. But, we'll get ready to close up shop here tonight. Appreciate everybody that was hanging out with us here tonight. We had Garrett Rainey slipping in there late, pointing out that Justin Michael was a lot faster on pit road than everybody else there under that first green flag pit cycle. Shout out to Bailey Marie Matacek as well for hanging out with us as always. Of course, Zach Lockett. Some guy named John K. hopped into the chat to say hello to Paul Ellison. Jacob Nagy out on tour. Hello. Thanks for stopping by. Peter Dunchak and Nicole Maxwell before the race. And, of course, Matt Williamson stopping by early. He'll be back in action tomorrow night when the Venom Truck Series heads to Kansas for round number 5 of season number 9, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, or 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, rather, for that one, as always, on a Tuesday night. We're back in action Thursday night with the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for that one, and we will be racing at Daytona to kick off the season in style with 80 laps for the opener. And then Friday, Jumping Trucks are back in action. It is the special stage Pro Truck Series from the Charlotte Rallycross course. And I forget what time that starts. I think maybe 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for that one, with the heat racing format for the first time. And that will lead us into the postseason starting next week from Indianapolis, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for that one. And we will leave you right now with the chase. And again, this is with an asterisk because we need to confirm individually with everybody that is locked into the chase right now if they are planning on running the postseason. But as it stands, it's Gavin Sanders, Justin Michael, Hunter Engrav, not a surprise there, Scott Patton, Matt Schlosser, Charlie Widener, Caleb Bensey, and TJ Crampton hanging on by 50 points over Heath Smith. The first ones on the outside looking in will be Heath Smith, James Lehman, and Brandon Groover. So we'll confer with our tentative chasers and make it official, but that will be your field of 8, hopefully headed into Indianapolis next week. Sanders, Michael, Engrav, Patton, Schlosser, Widener, Bensey, and Crampton. That's all we got for you here tonight. Thank you to John Kay. Thank you to Joshua Matichek for stepping up here tonight and to hanging out with us here in Booth 200. Shout out to Matt Williamson, who'll be back in air tomorrow night. Shout out to our race control, Garrett Rainey. Thank you to the drivers for coming out here as always and putting on a great show. Until we meet again from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, I'm Tommy Cook saying so long, and congratulations to Justin Michael on taking the Birds Aren't Real 200.
Ever walk?
This has been a live broadcast on Turn 200. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when we go live next. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.